TSC now free to hire 88,000 new teachers. Fresh recruitment will cost an additional 26 billion, will bring the total number of teachers to 379,789, and will consist of 20,000 fully trained teachers and 68,000 interns, whose employment the unions will likely oppose. I can allow you to come in now, Honorable.
Yeah, that's one. I think the situation, the teacher shortages in our institutions is as grave, and it is not being captured properly. I think this thing is really, really grave. In my constituency, we have some schools that only have an headmaster, secondary schools, only headmaster. In the community, you have to look for teachers, intern teachers to hire. But on this proposal, where TSC would like to hire interns, you know, when we know very well that we have around 290,000 teachers who have been trained. You know, these teachers have been trained in our public institutions. So we have these teachers training colleges that are being funded by government, churning out graduates who cannot be hired by government, and our government is still opting to have interns. I think this is not right, and I think we must accept that the education sector is in a crisis, and the government needs to come out and do something properly. I want to see a situation where all the teachers who have been trained, who have come out of our teacher training colleges, are all absorbed, because the teacher shortage in our schools is more than the teachers we have already trained, because we are actually misusing resources. Can you believe, Mwaura, that we have spent this amount of money training these teachers every year, running these colleges, and these teachers come out, we can't hire them, we can't absorb them, we are still going to absorb interns. So in this conversation, I think I want to agree with the NAT through their leadership that we will not accept to hire interns when we have teachers. The government has spent resources on training, who are still out there having no jobs. Where can teachers go and work? If the government is training teachers, where do the government expect them to go and work? So I think this we need to get serious. And I don't think Amina Mohammed, the Minister for Education, has the temerity and the stealth to be able to run this education docket in the manner that Matiang'i began these reforms. So I want to urge her to really wake up. I need her to be more proactive. I need her to be more decisive and be able to be practical. You know, give Kenyan solutions to education crisis. We don't want this PR gimmicks. You know, where we get announcements, big announcements that we are doing this, we are hiring these teachers. Yet on the ground, when you go on the ground, there's nothing really happening. The schools are hurting. Yeah,
it's very true. It's a big challenge that you get an old school, like in my area, you get a Nyakemine primary school with a population of 600 pupils, having 11 teachers, government teachers. It's a big challenge. But again, this is another case of misplaced priorities. The big four, agenda of the Jubilee administration should actually focus more on education. That the only way you can remove the poverty and the level of thinking, you raise the level of thinking to our people, is through impacting their lives through education. That is the only way you can actually do that. And I think we need to prioritize our way of dealing with the teachers. Our schools are understaffed, and there is nothing that can be said about that as much. Our teachers, our schools are understaffed. But again, on the issue of interns, I'll a bit defend the TSC, a bit as at now. If you look at that headline, you'll notice that they're working on a certain budget that is within the limits of the budget that has been approved. And us as members of parliament, and as you've seen, that is the budget that was approved by the National Assembly, the members, our colleagues in the members of the Education Committee. So clearly, you cannot really blame Amina, the CS, for coming up with this working structure. Because if probably she made a proposal request of about 50 billion shillings, and she was given 26 billion, what do you want her to do? You cannot force her to recruit all in,
without money.
Without money. You can't. And how is she working? She's working within the scale of the government limelight, direction, that Treasury can only release this amount of money to this ministry. So there is really much. I think for us it's about, we need to prioritize our education. That as we do budget, if you look, I sit in the Defense and Foreign Relations Committee, and there are some of my colleagues who sit in the Security Committee. The budget that we pass in those committees, the very two committees, in regard to those specific ministries, in my opinion, they are overrated. We need to balance that on. Security is very important. But I think that budget should be equated to the education ministry. The education ministry is under budgeted. They are given less funding, but you want them to perform. It is not practically possible.
Honorable Atandi,
it must really work.
He says yes, Amina's hands are tied on this matter.
No, I think budgets are driven by strategy and policy directions of a particular ministry. And the ministers are in charge of developing the policy and the strategies for their ministries. I sit in the Finance and National Planning Committee, and when we supervise budgets for Treasury and devolution, the first thing that we want to look at is, as a minister, what is your policy and strategy direction? Where are you heading? Where are you heading to? That is what informs the resource allocation. So I'm telling the minister that we want to see a policy and strategy direction for this ministry, and that is what will inform even the resource allocation. You cannot just step in as a new minister and say, we want teachers. Because the ministry is big, and I'm sure they are even allocating resources in other areas that are not necessary. So let us see. We want to see her strategy, her policy paper on how she wants to run a ministry, and then Parliament will use that to be able to help her get resources.
Okay.
If she has not developed her policy, how will we help her?
Okay, and of course you have to remember the lecturers' strike still ongoing, and that's a topic we'll have to discuss another day.